Hi, this is Amir with US Chartbreakers here at Zach's Traders Cafe, the weekend edition for Sunday, April the 7th. Starting off with the S&P, which now looks as though it's settled within this rising trend channel from October. Interesting that we obviously found support here well above the 50-day moving average, 50.80. We haven't been back below that since the first week of November, which is quite an achievement. The longer we stay above that 50-day line, currently around the 50.80 to 5100 area, and recent support for this market around 5110, the greater the chance of a move up to 53.60 or 70 as soon as the end of next month or even sooner. The other point to note is the way that the RSI now just in the low 50s bounced off neutral 50, and that tends to be a continuation signal. We had one of those in January and another one later in that month, as well as other bounces well above the neutral 50 level. Moving along to the Nasdaq, and here not quite as great as the S&P, but still we bounced off the rising 50-day line, and the longer we stay above that, 17,900, the greater the chance we move to the top of that rising October trend channel. That's currently giving us a suggested target as high as 19,300. To be delivered as soon as the end of this month. If we do break down, then the floor of the channel is there, 17,500, but it would be surprising if we broke below that. Moving along to the stocks, and starting off with a situation which hopefully will be a winner over the near term, Altisource Asset Management. Here you can see that the shares have managed to break a resistance line there from January. Been a few attempts at doing that. The line there in question around $3.50. Above that, we're looking for at least a retest of the $5 area resistance on the way down back in the first quarter of this year. Best case is up to $6 by the end of next month, while we remain above that $3.50 level. Onto a stock which may be basing out at the moment, Brennmiller Energy, and here it looks like possibly a rising trend, rather a broadening triangle base. The top of that triangle pointing to $5.20, and the longer we may remain above recent support in the $2 zone, the greater the chance of $5 perhaps as soon as the end of next month. The immediate barrier there is the 50-day line, $3.40. So let's see if we can get through that early in April. CCSC Technology is next, and quite a roller coaster, as you can see, looking on the left-hand side of the chart earlier this year. But current view is that we may be basing in a range between around $2.60 and $4.80, and the latter number could be seen as soon as the end of this month if the rebound on Friday has legs, especially above the $3 level, which was recent resistance earlier in the week. One of the more bizarre rises of the moment is coming up next, Destiny, and here the question is, where is this stock going? We've got a potential rising trend channel. The guess is that we're heading up to $110. That would be the symmetrical top of what we're seeing at the moment. The recent resistance that was broken around $32, so obviously above that is we're looking or feeling quite happy with the situation, and Thursday's high around $40, but obviously this is a very wide-ranging stock. $110 possible by the end of next month, while we remain above 40 is the tightest call that we can make at the moment. Next up is a requested situation, Graftech International, and here we see the shares potentially in a rising trend channel base, the top of that channel there from January, heading as high as $2.25. The only sticking point in the near term, and we've had 3 attempts to get through it during the week, is the $1.60 area, which is just above the 50-day moving average. So we want to see more closes above that 50-day line. Ideally, tomorrow we get the break, i.e. Monday we get the break through the $1.60 area and head up to $2.25 as soon as the end of next month after that. Downside hopefully limited by the floor of that channel around $1.30. Next up is another potential winner over the near term, 1847 Holdings, and here you can see that we've had the shares basing out. They made one rather nasty probe for support there in the middle of last month, but hammer candle earlier last week, and then a rising 50-day line currently around $2.20 suggests that we will retest the old resistance from back in February around $4 as soon as the end of this month. But the key is staying above that 50-day line, now rising as I have suggested. Forge Global is next, and here you can see that we seem to have a wide rising trend channel base there. We've got a rising 50-day line as well, just below the $2 level, and the longer we stay above $2 and that 50-day line, the greater the chance of a retest of the late March spike for the shares through the $3.50 level, maybe up to $3.60 by the end of this month, if everything goes well after the key reversal to the upside that we had back at the end of the week. Moving along to Galectin, which is one of the more stunning charts around. Great start to April for the shares, and breaking through $2.50. The top of the channel looks as though it is heading towards the $4.50 zone, and we're looking for that hopefully over the next week or so. Ideally, we stay above the mid-range of Friday, which was around the $3.20, $3.30 area. That's probably about as tight as we can make it at this point. Moving along to the interestingly named Grindrod, and here you can see that we've had a spectacular gap to the upside, mirroring on the upside what we had on the way down back in October. The hope is that the shares will now stay above the floor of that gap there around $11.40 and head up to $16 at the top of that rising April trend channel from this time last year. Time frame on hitting $16 hopefully within the next couple of weeks, and certainly well before the end of this month. Interesting setup here at Intellinetics, where we've got this rising trend channel from basically the end of March last year. Top of the channel there heading for $11, which would obviously retest last month's resistance for the shares. The trigger for the upside from now, apart from bouncing off the floor of the channel, may be an end of day close through $7.60, which is the rising 50-day moving average level. Above that, then hopefully we'll get to $11 well before the end of this month. Obviously, we don't want to see much sustained price action back below the floor of the channel and the $6 level. On to the last three, and starting off with a decent looking play, Mediaco, and here you can see that massive spike to the upside through old resistance there. The main resistance, I suppose, was around the $2.30 mark back in October, so the longer we stay above that, the greater the chance of not only a retest of the post-2022 resistance of $6.60, but also to break into higher ground towards the $10 level, which was back from 2021. But the key here is that on any pullback, we stay above $2.30. Another big riser and an impressive chart coming up in the form of Palladyne. And here you can see we've got this classic cup and handle type of turnaround. You could argue it's a saucer as well, but we had that little dip there towards the 50-day moving average at the end of last month, which may have shaken out some of the weaker hands, but at the moment above $2, the recent trading range, mid-range, then we're looking for up to $3.20 hopefully over the next week or two. Finishing off with another high riser, and one that hasn't appeared as much of late as we would have liked it to. Here we had various targets. The initial target top of that channel at $20, then a fresh target there at $32, let's say. But now it looks as though we're in a rising trend channel from back in December. The top of that channel looks as though it's heading towards the $100 area, which hopefully we'll get to by the end of this month, while we remain above the recent trading area, the previous resistance and new support around the $70 mark. So above 70, looking for $100 there at root. That's it for me today. More updates during the week.